Welcome to this podcast on solar power in India. India's path towards fully realizing its renewable energy potential could be a game changer for its own citizens, as well as for the global efforts to tackle climate change. Getting solar projects off the ground is no easy task. Solar expansion in India offers key lessons to boost clean energy investments around the world. The Lighthouse Initiative supports the exchange of solar knowledge between Indian agencies and their counterparts in Bangladesh, the Maldives, and others in Africa. India as a country contends with seasonal heat waves and power shortages, and the role of renewable energy, particularly solar energy, in meeting those challenges has come into sharp focus. For many, especially in India's rural communities where the pandemic is wreaking havoc, reliable electricity can mean access to hospitals and medicines. Quite literally, the difference between life and death. India is determined to reap the benefits of solar power. The country set itself an ambitious target, 100 gigawatts of solar generation capacity by 2022. That would be a boon for its commercial and industrial consumers, who account for 74% of installed energy capacity, compared with 13% of installed capacity for residential customers and public sector organizations. As of December 2020, India had 38.8 gigawatts of installed solar capacity, including ground-mounted and rooftop operations. Solar is also powering other essential infrastructure, including transport. One of India's flagship solar projects, the giant Rewa Solar Park, powers the New Delhi Metro Rail system, a network that serves over 2.6 million commuters daily. Vital government-led initiatives like 24/7 Power for All, which committed to providing each household access to electricity around the clock, are helping to empower communities, both literally and figuratively, improving the quality of life. Still, about 250 million Indians live without access to electricity, which is why India's path towards fully realizing its renewable energy potential could be a game changer. For its own citizens, certainly, as well as for global efforts to tackle climate change, and as a guide for other countries as they invest in solar energy. Getting solar projects off the ground is no easy task. It requires the right policies and regulatory frameworks, overcoming hesitation around adopting new technology, and the provision of concessional or de-risking instruments to encourage private capital to flow. In addition to providing this kind of support, from concessional finance to establish the solar parks in Madhya Pradesh to supporting enabling policies and bringing the private sector to the table, the expansion of solar in India offers key lessons to boost clean energy investments around the world. Rooftop solar's potential in Nigeria. India's experience with rooftop solar and solar farms offer exciting possibilities in Nigeria. The densely populated African country, Nigeria, loses 45% of its produce after harvest because it can't be kept cold, resulting in a 25% loss of income for its 93 million smallholder farmers. A pilot project at a food park market in Sokoto, Nigeria, aims to change that by testing the business case for refrigeration fueled by rooftop solar units. If it succeeds, the project will demonstrate the potential of this technology for commercial and industrial consumers, the target market for rapidly scaling up solar rooftop capacity, and transform the lives of millions of farmers. After signing on to the Paris Climate Agreement, India began its solar journey in a serious way, facilitating flexible clean power auctions, attracting record low solar tariffs, and underscoring its commitment to clean energy. At the UN Climate Summit in December 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India is on track to ultimately top its renewable energy targets, hitting 175 gigawatts before 2022. The World Bank Group's Scaling Solar program supports a similar auction process in countries like Zambia to create viable solar markets. The Bangweulu solar plant in Lusaka's multi-facility economic zone is expected to supply electricity to as many as 30,000 homes and businesses. complement the country's hydro-based electric supply, and save electricity purchasing costs for the government. In May 2021, Senegal announced through the program that 2 new solar PV plants will provide access to electricity to nearly 540,000 people at some of the lowest rates in sub-Saharan Africa. Located in the country's western region, the new solar plants in Kael and Kahone will help avoid 89,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually. In partnership with the India-led International Solar Alliance, the bank's Lighthouse initiative is supporting a pipeline for the exchange of solar knowledge between Indian agencies and their counterparts in many other countries like Bangladesh, the Maldives, and others in Africa. For example, the Lighthouse initiative is most active in the Maldives, a nation of over 1,110 islands in the Arabian Sea. Known for its luxury resorts, the Maldives has no proven fossil fuel reserves but remained open for business despite the COVID-19 pandemic, in part because it is making the transition to renewable energy. In December 2020, the bank approved a $107 million project to help the Maldives accelerate its transition to renewables. Although geographically and economically diverse, the energy challenges developing countries face reveal common starting points for solutions tailored to each nation's unique needs. Learning from India's experiences, whether in small island states or emerging economies in Africa, puts into practice a quotation from Mahatma Gandhi included in India's 2015 climate target. One must care about the world one will not see. Let's take a look at some of the challenges and opportunities. The land price is costly for acquisition in India. Dedication of land for the installation of solar arrays must compete with other needs. The amount of land required for utility-scale solar power plants is about 1 square kilometer or 250 acres for every 40 to 60 megawatt generated. One alternative is to use the water surface area on canals, lakes, reservoirs, farms, ponds, and the sea for large solar power plants. Due to better cooling of the solar panels and the sun tracking system, the output of solar panels is enhanced substantially. These water bodies can also provide water to clean the solar panels. Floating solar plants installation cost has reduced steeply by 2018. In January 2019, Indian Railways announced a plan to install 4 gigawatt capacity along its tracks. Highways and railways may also avoid the cost of land nearer to load centers, minimizing transmission line costs by having solar plants about 10 meters above the roads or rail tracks. Solar power generated by road areas may also be used for in-motion charging of electric vehicles, reducing fuel costs. Highways would avoid damage from rain and summer heat, increasing comfort for commuters. The architecture best suited to most of India would be a set of rooftop power generation systems connected via a local grid. Not only the rooftop area but also outer surface area of tall buildings can be used for solar PV power generation by installing PV modules in vertical position in place of glass panels to cover facade areas. Such an infrastructure, which does not have the economy of scale of mass utility scale solar panel deployment, needs a lower deployment price to attract individuals and family-sized households. The cost of high efficiency and compact mono PERC modules and battery storage systems have reduced to make a rooftop solar PV more economical and feasible in a microgrid. Greenpeace recommends that India adopt a policy of developing solar power as a dominant component of its renewable energy mix. Since its identity as a densely populated country in the tropical belt of the subcontinent has an ideal combination of high insolation and a large potential consumer base. In one scenario, India could make renewable resources the backbone of its economy by 2030, curtailing carbon emissions without compromising its economic growth potential. A study suggested that 100 gigawatt of solar power could be generated through a mix of utility scale and rooftop solar, with the realizable potential for rooftop solar between 57 and 76 gigawatt by 2024. During the 2015-16 fiscal year, NTPC with 110 megawatt solar power installations generated 160.8 million kilowatt at a capacity utilization of 16.64%, more than 20% below the claimed norms of solar power industry. The annual net peak solar power generation is around 20,000 megawatt. After accounting the applicable derating factors and system losses before feeding into the high voltage power grid, since the nameplate capacity of solar PV plants is actually the gross DC capacity of the installed PV modules. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast on solar power in India.